Okay, let's dive into this. We're talking about something pretty much every developer will face at some point: API limits. You know that moment, right? Your service starts to get popular, the requests are flying in, and then, boom, things start to break. So today, we're going to unpack rate limiting, what it is, and why it's the key strategy to control that chaos and keep your apps from falling over.
I want you to think of this as a challenge. Seriously, it's not if you'll hit a limit, it's when. The real question, the one that matters, is what happens next. Do you just crash and burn and leave your users frustrated, or do you handle it with a bit of elegance? That's exactly what we're going to cover.
So let's start with the why. Why is this so important? Well, because every successful application, sooner or later, is going to face a traffic spike it just wasn't ready for. Maybe it's a great marketing campaign, maybe you go viral on social media, or maybe it's just a misconfigured client somewhere. Whatever the cause, without a plan, that spike is a recipe for absolute disaster. And this slide, well, this lays it all out. It's like two different worlds. On the left, you've got total chaos. Servers getting overloaded, apps crashing left and right, and users who are getting really, really frustrated. But look at the right side. With rate limiting, you get stability, you get fairness, you stop abuse in its tracks, and you create a service that's predictable and reliable. It's literally the difference between being a victim of your own success and actually mastering it.
So, what is this thing really? The absolute best way to think about rate limiting is to picture a bouncer at a super popular nightclub. The club is your API, right? And that huge crowd outside, that's all your incoming traffic. Now, the bouncer's job isn't to turn everyone away for no reason. It's to manage the flow, to make sure the club doesn't get dangerously overcrowded and chaotic inside.
And here we have the more formal textbook definition. Rate limiting is a strategy to control the rate of requests. The key thing to get here is that it's not about blocking people out. It's about controlling the tempo, the pace, to keep the entire system healthy and running smoothly for everyone. Of course, our bouncer can't just be making up rules as they go. That would be chaos. They need a clear set of rules to follow. And in the world of rate limiting, these rules are built from a few core concepts. So let's break them down. So you've really got three key tools in the toolbox. First up, quotas. This is just the total number of requests allowed in a certain time, like you get 100 requests per hour. Simple. Second, you have concurrency caps. This limits how many requests can be happening at the very same time. And finally, and this one's super important, there are retry after headers. This is the API politely saying, hey, you've hit the limit. Chill out for 30 seconds, then try again. These three things work together to manage the whole flow. So when your app gets that try again later message, it needs to be smart about it. And that's where exponential backoff comes into play. It's a strategy for gracefully backing away from a slam door instead of just hammering on it over and over again. Here's how it works in practice, and it's pretty clever. After the first time it fails, the client waits 1 second. If it tries again and fails again, it doubles that wait time to 2 seconds. Fails a third time? Okay, now we wait 4 seconds, then 8, and so on. See? It progressively gives the server more and more breathing room to catch up. But wait a minute. What if thousands of clients all fail at the exact same moment and they all decide to retry in exactly 4 seconds? You just create another massive traffic spike. Well, that's where this little thing called jitter comes in. It's the secret sauce. By adding a tiny, random amount of time to each of those backoff periods, you spread out the retries. You prevent what's called a thundering herd. It's just a beautifully simple solution to a really complex problem. Okay, so we get the rules. We know how to back off politely. But what do we do when our club, our API, is just completely packed? I mean, at full capacity. How do you handle that gracefully without just dropping requests on the floor? You know, this right here is where the pros really separate themselves from the amateurs. A truly resilient system doesn't just say no and hang up. No way. It might queue those requests up to be processed as soon as there's a little capacity, or it could degrade gracefully. Maybe it serves up slightly older cached data instead of just failing the request entirely. And crucially, it logs every single time a limit is hit. That data is absolute gold for monitoring your traffic patterns and tuning your system over time. So as we start to wrap this up, I really want to shift your thinking a bit. Rate limiting isn't just some defensive thing you bolt on at the end. It really should be a fundamental part of how you design your systems from day one. If you only take one single thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this. Don't wait for your application to crash to think about this stuff. Design for the limits from the very beginning. Build your system with the assumption that it will, one day, face overwhelming demand, and architect it to be resilient when that day comes. And that leaves us with one last kind of provocative question for you to think about. I want you to look at the systems you're building right now. Are they truly built to be resilient, or are they just fragile systems, kind of waiting for that one inevitable traffic spike to come along and push them right over the edge? The choice, really, is yours.